All right, y'all. What up, though? My bad. Hey, bro. Wait. Okay, so we good. We good. All right, so we good. Mic check. We are good to go. What's up, everybody? First of all, let me say something, all right? The Pistons got robbed today. They got robbed today, man. I'm going to tell you why they didn't call that. If you didn't watch, the Pistons player got fouled on the three-point line. They're not gonna end the game standing from the free throw line. That's anticlimactic. They're not gonna do that. Me personally cannot stand the New York Knicks. And why is Spike Lee on the? Oh my God, I hope they never win nothing. All right, we are here. What's up, Waymo? What's good with you? We got Dylan in the building. What up? Michigan Panthers lost yesterday. Pistons are about to be eliminated unless they win 3 in a row, and they're probably not. Only 18, a handful of games, handful of teams, less than 20 teams have done that, so it's probably over. Shout out to the Pistons. They've lost, 2 games by 2 points, which is insane. So that means they're on the come up for sure. What else? Yeah, Michigan Panthers lost yesterday. Yeah, okay. So we did record numbers over the weekend. We had a record day 1 in views and viewers, concurrent viewers. That's viewers at the same time. A record day 3 and a record day 2. So we wind up obliterating last year's numbers, and I expect an increase every year. Also, shout out to Tom Grassi and everybody, all the inspiring YouTubers, because he was able to announce the NFL draft pick for the Packers in one of the rounds. And you know what it said? And I reacted on my live stream. You know what the graphic below when they introduced him, it said YouTuber, like YouTuber. That was his occupation, YouTuber. And I was just like, man, that's inspiring. Now, I'll never be asked to do anything for the Detroit Lions because they don't want my type of fan. But it was aspiring and inspiring to see Tom Grassi with the YouTuber as his title. Man, was crazy, and it was cool to see. NBA refs got the NFL. Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. Everybody was like, I asked, when did the NBA get so soft? Because I haven't watched it in like almost 20 years. When Chauncey Rip, Ben Wallace, well, he left first, but so even when he came back, I didn't watch. And we'll get into the Lions, but I didn't realize that the NBA was so soft. I knew LeBron flops and all that stuff, but I don't watch like that, so I didn't know. It's almost unwatchable. I was born in 1979. I was there for the bad boys. I was there for going to work. I was there for the Teal era. I was there when basketball was actually a game. Now it's almost like ballet. It's almost like ballet. Like, it's crazy to me. You might as well put the dudes in ballet shoes and let them tiptoe around the court, bro. I'm like, what is this? This is crazy. Everybody flopping. Everybody just, like, it's almost unwatchable. Like, real talk. At least in the NFL, you get paid to hit somebody. You can't even play basketball anymore. Like, anyway. Oh my God. So that's what's up. Lori, what's up? Dove, what's going on? What's going on? Lori, you should be very close to 6 months. I can't wait. Good series between the Pistons and the Knicks. I don't know, bro. I disagree because Brunson he remind me of like a short, light-skinned DJ Quick. But like, is everything this? Is this every play? It's the same thing. It's the same. I can't, bro. I'm just like, this is what we dealing with. Is this a LeBron effect? Like, remember when Jordan, they was slapping each other, bro? They got to play basketball. Anyway, if I start watching the NBA, I will somebody wanted to start the Lions Syndicate, but I just haven't been around. I just haven't done it. I've had 2 people ask me to run it, okay? I don't have time to run it, but I might. I might make time to run it. Anyway, we are here. Yes, everyone wants to see 3 points and dunks, not strategy, not actual basketball. Not actually basketball. I mean, back in the day, they didn't even have a 3-point line. It was not a 3-point line back in the. Anyway, let me stop. Believe it or not, I used to watch the Pistons, man, but once Chauncey and them left, it was something about the team, man. I just left. I wasn't interested anymore. That's what I don't want to happen to the Detroit Lions. Like, I just wasn't interested. Anyway, you see, man, I got the same passion. I just don't watch. Plus, it's way too many games. It's like a game every other day. I got a kid. I don't have time to be watching basketball 3-4 times a week. Hey, so no, we've had people. I've got 2 people lined up. If I don't, I'm not gonna do it, but I got 2 people lined up. All right, so no. Okay, listen, Brunson, I just can't deal. Okay, did you see the play where he got hurt? He hooked the dude with his leg. He hurt himself. So what I'm saying is that I'm from the old school. I'm from Rick Mahorn, Bill Laimbeer. Now I understand the game has changed, but come on, dog. Like, the dude is a baller. It ain't, no doubt. He was hitting shots. I'm like, dog, he scored all the points for the Knicks. It was 78-71. They went on a 13-0 run or whatever it was. It was like 13-6, whatever it was. He scored all the points. Like, the dude was balling. But still, this, I can't, bro. Everything is this. Anyway, let's get into the Lions talk, man. Let's get into the Lions talk. Okay, let me switch to the Lions. I got to pivot. You see what I did? I got to pivot. Shout out to the Pivot Podcast, bro. The Pivot Podcast has passed I Am Athlete. Ain't that something? You started on one group. You then started your own group and passed the one you started on. That's insane. And as you can see, my voice is in trouble. Oh. Hey, shout out to the All Grit Inspired. And Dan Campbell was at the game today. Dan Campbell, I guess Jared Goff was there. Like, bruh. Dan Campbell was at the game. He could have waved a little bit more, though, but shout out to the All Grit Inspired shirt, man. Malik says, I'm trying to do what, bro? I'm talking. What we doing? You trying to do what? Julius says, are we bringing Z back? Hey, y'all see your boy can talk about the Pistons. I can talk about the Pistons, man. I can talk about the Pistons. It ain't no doubt. I gotta watch the games. I'll be on it. Oh, bro, you already better. Don't you worry about that. Ain't nothing like being credentialed and you still whack. All right, so let's talk about this. Let me pivot podcast this thing. Brad Holmes. I made a video yesterday about me I understood that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, they've said the same thing over and over. This is how we build a team, point blank, period. You've got to deal with it, okay? And my retort to that argument has been, okay, is that going to be enough to win you a Super Bowl? And every year I get excited because I'm like, okay, maybe Brad will do this. Maybe Brad will say, maybe Brad got something secret. You know what I'm saying? He got a secret that he gonna just pull out and be like, boom, Trey Hendrickson. Here's a trade, boom. Daniil Hunter at the time, whatever the situation. Here's something you didn't expect, but smacks you right in the face. Okay, I see what you're doing. He said, no, dog, that ain't how this works, okay? We're going to not do it any other way but the way we've been doing it. So now I get it. I understand. It's either going to be 2 things. We're going to win the way they do it or we're not. That's it. And I'm going to be here regardless. He might not be, but I'm going to be here. So I get that now. I don't think we're going to win a Super Bowl without a ferocious D-line and a decent defense. That's it. It boils down, I don't care. It boils down to that and that alone. He can do whatever he wants. He can say whatever he wants. He can make whatever remarks. We're not going to win a Super Bowl without a D-line and a defense. That's it. You saw from last year, the offense has to be perfect. Now, you can't throw 3 interceptions. I'm going to put some of that on Ben Johnson, though, because Benedict Johnson was, and listen, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Packers are going to get better. They're going to get better. We're not going to always be at the top of the NFC North. I would love for us to have the dominance that Green Bay has had for the past 20 years. They've controlled the North for 20 years. I would love that to happen. And in that time, they got 1 Super Bowl. I would love that to happen too, at least 1. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think we win a Super Bowl without it. And in this draft, I was like, okay, it clicked for me. I said, all right, this is how it's gonna go. We gonna win his way or we're not. That's it. We gonna win his way or we're not. I'm gonna deal with it. A lot of y'all think I want to be right. I hear the dumbest takes on Twitter. The dumbest takes. I want Brad Holmes to fail so I can be right. Are you an idiot? You must be, because if Brad Holmes fails and I am right, we don't win a Super Bowl again. And now I'm 50, then I'm 55, then my teeth falling out, then I'm cremated, and we ain't won nothing. That's not what I want. I'm the one that said I would wear a clown suit if I was wrong, right? But anyway, let me put on the up. Okay, all right, let me turn this down real quick. When is Brad's presser? It already happened. This was from last night. So if you've seen it, then this is not for you, okay? I didn't watch it. I have not seen it. I was tired. I had to make draft videos, and then I went to bed. I was tired. I feel good today, though. I feel really good, man. I slept unbothered. Like, usually every little sound wakes me up, but I was laid out today. Nothing woke me up. Okay. So the presser has already happened. It's from last night. Now, why did I mainly want to react from this? Because the media, the Detroit media, shout out to those guys. Shout out to John Macron. Shout out to Dave Burkett. Even shout out to Justin Rogers. Apparently, they've been on his head. Even though we drafted a pass rusher in the 6th round who has a lot of potential, y'all, but I'm going to need y'all to pump the brakes. The dude he is what we are. There's no doubt about it, but let's not act like he not a 6th round pick. I mean, come on, dog. We're not even talking about 4th round or 5th round. The dude, he is a Detroit Lion, 100%. Is he a needle mover? Is he a game changer? And also, you got to remember, this guy is a 6th round pick going against NFL offensive linemen. This is not college anymore. Look what happened to James Houston. 6th round pick, NFL lineman. Now, he got 20 pounds on James Houston. He got 20 pounds. But look what happened. 6th round pick, offensive lineman, NFL offensive lineman, currently not in the NFL, right? I'm not trying to dump on a dude. I'm saying we got to be realistic. We fall in love with the vision or something. This guy he seems like a great young man. He has and that's why we drafted him. We didn't draft him because of his skill set primarily. He has a motor that doesn't quit. He's relentless. Sounds like somebody else we know. 2nd overall pick, right? So let's pump the brakes a little bit on the homeboy. I'm rooting for him, right? But still, he's a 6th round pick who has massive potential, but he's a 6th round pick who now will get a taste of the NFL. Okay? That's all I'm saying. But with that being said, the media has been on still. They weren't necessarily satisfied from what I'm understanding. And Brad, I guess he got tired of people asking him. But here's Brad Holmes' press conference from last night after the draft concluded. Let me know if it's
news, family,
too loud.
Family. First, just all seriously, just our thoughts and prayers are with Matt Turpin and his family, and condolences out to just the tragic news about the passing of his wife.
Wait, who? What? Who?
Just please keep in his prayers and his family.
Is that someone who works for the Lions? I didn't hear anything about that. Condolences. Is it too loud? Is it too low? Do I need to turn it up?
Prayers for his strength, because that's something that's we wouldn't want that. We want anybody to go through that. So
hey, Caprice, yes, I'm actually making a video after we get off live stream about that. People was blowing my phone up last night about Shadura. I still don't think that means he come back, but that's a cool story.
And for a long time. Good man. Questions?
Plugged in Iowa previously, Alabama. This year it's Georgia. Is there ever something about specific programs and just the way they prepare talent that appeals to you as an evaluator?
Yeah. Obviously, before I got this job, I was living in Atlanta, Georgia for a long time, just scouting the Southeast. And then when the Rams moved out to L.A., I just kind of stayed in Atlanta. But obviously have been to Georgia practices a lot and has been around that program a lot. And it's unlike anything else that I've seen live in terms of a college practice, in terms of just the intensity. You know, Saban at Alabama was very similar, but just the intensity, the physicality, the detail, the tempo, whole thing, the energy. I mean, it's so when you can go through that kind of regiment and when you practice like that, you know that they're ready. But I think, you know, everything that Coach Smart's done, you know, with that program, I think everything speaks for itself. But yeah, we're I never really go into it thinking, you know, oh, we're going to get, you know, these Iowa guys or these Georgia guys or these Alabama guys. But it just.
All right, 1 second. So the Falcons defensive coordinator's son, that's you know, I don't know. I don't know. I was talking to my homies about it. What he did, I mean, I don't really blame the dad. You're at home. You're supposed to feel protected at home. Who cares about an open iPad at home? You know what I'm saying? You at the crib. You're supposed to be able to trust the people you live with, right? That's just crazy to me. I wonder what if there'll be any discipline for the Falcons defensive coordinator's son, who is the one that called Shadura Sanders. But here's what I want to know. Who recorded the call and decided to leak the footage of you calling him? I mean, dog, what are we doing? Do we want to be that famous that bad? I mean, come on, dog. And then he didn't even do the calling. Somebody else did, right? That's crazy to me. Anyway, let's get back to it. I mean, who records? I told y'all, man, nothing is safe. This conversation right here ain't safe, man. Somebody recording this. It's crazy.
Just happened to fall that way, just kind of when we kind of got towards the later part of the draft. We've always had a liking for Dan Jackson, you know, in just terms of being a heady safety, and, you know, he's gotten his hands on the football, and a lot of it is above the neck, but he actually, he's faster than what a lot of people think. He's been at the Senior Bowl, so he put together a nice little year. And then Dominic Levette, obviously, he's another one that's kind of been a fan. I've been a fan of his for a long time. We all have. And one thing about him is that, yes, he has speed. He can do a lot of stuff from the slot, but he'd be a really good special teams player.
And there you go. Dominic Levette is replacing Khalif Raymond. Khalif Raymond will not be on the team next year. I mean, he's on the last year of his deal. That's exactly why this kid was drafted. Don't forget, we got Ronnie Bell, who may or may not make the team. And then we also brought in Meeks, Zadarius Smith, nephew. So it's going to be, I was looking at the receivers, man, for like the special team guys, but that's why Dominic was drafted. He was drafted to replace Khalif, who was undrafted. So probably won't happen this year, but expect this kid in the preseason. I mean, depending on how he does on special teams, I don't know. I don't see him taking Khalif, but, you know, I don't know. But that's why he was drafted to replace Leaf.
So we're fired up to get him. Just happened to fall with the Georgia win, but feel good about it.
Thinking specifically about Jackson, but him too, a little bit too in this. How much you value that in some of those late round picks, and when you're projecting a role for a guy, I guess.
Yeah, it's very important.
Okay, I'm sorry, William. Well, I hear you, bro. But using Tom Brady is like Neo from the Matrix. We can't. That's very true. That's extremely true. But if you look at the lower pick draft picks that become stars, it's rare and far and few in between, right? I'm not taking away anything from this kid. I want him to be a star. I want him to earn a massive deal in 4 years. I want that from him. And does he have that potential? Absolutely. But statistically, it doesn't work like that. That's all I'm saying. I mean, and when we go to Tom Brady, I mean, we talk about one out of how many people? There are 5th round picks, 6th round picks, undrafted people that go into the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? Who have Super Bowl rings. I'm not trying to take anything, but using Tom Brady is like, I don't know, bro. That's like the easiest thing in the world.
It's very important. I think I may have made the joke in the past that in the later rounds, you know, Fip could probably come in and just run the draft just because it's so. But, you know, look, when the guy earns a role on teams and, you know, he's good enough to be part of the depth, man, he's got a good opportunity to go to the game. And there might be another player at his same position that might be, just take wide receiver. You know, if there's another player that's just maybe a little bit better route runner or maybe have a little bit better hands. But if it doesn't have the attitude or the skill set to contribute on special teams, you're talking about battling for a 5th spot. No, we're going with the guy that contributes on special teams. That's why it's critically important.
Wait a minute. Was that kind of a... So did he just kind of say Khalif Raymond? I mean, he didn't say this, but Khalif is right now wide receiver 5. So, I mean, Levette is a Khalif Raymond replacement. So if Levette dogs out on special teams, he can replace Khalif as number 5. Wow.
Doubt any of your picks based off your draft history through the years. For an average fan who might question and look back at some of these picks and not understand some of them, what would you like to tell the fans, though, just about overall what you guys were looking to accomplish this year and what you think you were able to do with these picks?
Hey, shout out to, okay, I need y'all help. Is this Corey or Eric? Is this Corey Woods or I think that's Eric, right? ESPN. Which one is that? No, MSU right now, Raymond is number 5 right now. Raymond is number 5. Okay, so is that Corey? Okay, so Corey is Corey Woods. Okay, all right. Shout out to Corey. That was a great question. I have not heard this before, so this is the first time I'm hearing it with y'all.
Look, probably the best. I understand that, like, fans and people on the outside of this building, they naturally have reactions, and they'll have comments, thoughts about the decisions that we make. And I think the tough part about it is that the people on the outside, they have very limited information about the decisions that we make. And we have all the information which goes into that decision. Also, not just the information that's available, but also the work that we have to put into it. The people, let's say the fans or the media or anybody, I don't think that someone's watching hours and hours and hours and hours of film. Wouldn't expect them to. Probably have a job. That takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time, a lot of strain. That's the hard part. But, you only have the information that's available to you. So when you're only seeing a mock draft, well, the mock draft, that person has limited information available to them. That person hasn't watched all the film. You know what I mean? So, and I don't expect them to. So that's the part where it's like you're gonna have questions, you're gonna have thoughts, but if you have, I've always thought, will there ever be an evolution where right now, if you see something about a player and you have a position, stats, PFF, stuff like that, you might even have highlights. Or you might have seen them on television, which is almost a cardinal sin in scouting. You don't television scout because it's not the same thing. So a lot of people you see on television, you watch the film, it doesn't look anything close to it. So, but those are all the things that I don't expect anybody else that is not in our shoes to do it. But all that stuff that we do, all that information we have, all that work that we do goes into the decision. And so someone that doesn't do that work or has that information available to them, they don't know that. So they're going to comment and have an opinion on that decision. So you just got to have confidence in what you do. So,
all right. So basically, Brad Holmes is telling you to trust the process. And if you want to do that, that's fine. And he had a valid point. It was a very valid point. They've got hours and hours of information. They have access to stuff. I watched the movie Draft Day for the first time yesterday. And I was like, which one of these guys are Brad Holmes? I watched Draft Day. It was kind of corny. It wasn't corny, but it was like fluffy NFL. It's kind of cool, right? But I watched it and I was like, I wonder if Brad is like that. Like I didn't sleep after the draft and I was like, Draft Day, so I watched it, right? So there is some very valid points to that. I wonder what the follow-up question is going to be. I can't say anything about that. I can say, okay, you know what? I take that back. I have the gift of gab. So I'm going to retort. I'm going to retort to Brad Holmes, okay? There is, with the limited knowledge and the limited resources that we have, I think that fans, even though we don't have access to everything that they do, and we don't have time to watch hours and hours, and even if we did, we're not looking for certain things, all right? But he mentioned something that kind of bothers me. Brad is not a fan of stats. He's not a fan of stats. And I think in some regard, you have to acknowledge the stat because the stat could be, it doesn't always work out like that. Like allegedly, apparently, Harold Landry had garbage sacks. Okay? Garbage sacks. But if you take a guy, we all knew, and with the limited resources that we had, that Aiden Hutchinson was a no-brainer, right? We all knew that. Every fan knew that. Well, some people wanted Malik Willis, so maybe not. But there were some of us that saw what Aiden did in college, and we knew he had to be the pick. And I think, personally, Aiden is the best pick that Brad has made. Next, I would say Jameer. Then I would probably say Kirby Joseph, and then Brian Branch. Aleem McNeil would probably be, but me, we all knew Hutch was the pick, right? So there is something to a dominant, if you have dominant stats, there is something to that. So we're working with what we have, and we using the eye test, right? We know Trey Hendrickson is a dog. We know Hutch about to get a bag. Like, we don't say anybody about to get a bag. We knew St. Brown was about to get a bag. Why? We could base that off the limited resources we had. So I'm not saying Brad does all the work, right? That's why I was saying, is there a particular player I want? I don't know the details. I just want a guy whose job is to get to the quarterback and who does it well, who does it at a high level. It doesn't even have to be elite. It could be high because we don't have that on our team. So I understand and I reason, and I'm not trying to downplay whatever he said because he was 100% right. It is somebody's job to scout who lives and breathes and all that stuff. But then you got a Broderick Martin. You know what I'm saying? Like, who saw what in him? So I don't know, bro. I'm just saying. And but he's right though. He is right overall about his statement. We don't have access. We don't even know what to look for in some cases. I mean, some people do, but I mean, I didn't take it as dismissive, but I think, I don't know, man. I feel like Brad could do, not that you draft who the fans want you to draft, but you could be a little more kind of in touch with the fan. Like, I understand why y'all would say that. I understand this city is so, like, the movie Draft Day was about the Cleveland Browns. I was like, why couldn't we get a movie made about us? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I ain't mad at him for what he said. It's 100% truth to that. But at the same time, I think we can push back a little bit. We just, like, you seem to be ignoring the defensive line in the edge rusher position. Like, that is 100%. And it seems to be affecting our team, right? We can agree on that.
Probably a long-winded answer, but I think that's
it was
really
great.
Understanding of it.
You finally got your edge rusher. So what about Ahmed? Jumped off the page during your extensive film work.
Shout out to John.
To make him a selection.
Yeah, no, he incredible story, by the way, but look, again, that's not why we acquired him. We acquired him because he plays with his hair on fire, and as let's call it developmental as he is, he plays hard. We talk about just, I think I said the other night, what do you have to do at that position? You got to set edges and win rushes. And when I say win rushes, it's not just getting a sack. You can win a rush just by just harassment and power and collapsing the pocket and just sheer effort. So we just like the upside of him. We like his football character, his work ethic, his passion. He was so fired up on the phone to get here. Those are the type of stuff you want to hear. But yeah, we just fit. He's been one of those guys that sometimes, like, they start off as like one of the favorites, and then sometimes they might drift off because you see so much and you do so much film. But he's a guy that just kept staying on the steady climb and ascension the more and more and more we watched of him. So fired up about him.
All right, so that's what I was saying earlier in the stream and last night on my video. I understand that now. The Lions you see what he said? He didn't say nothing about talent. He said he plays with his hair on fire. He has potential. He has an upside, character. That it sunk in last night. I've been waiting on Brad Holmes to go against what he's been talking about. We were never, if you have any type of arrest history, you are never being drafted by the Detroit Lions. Jalen Carter, never coming here. It's not going to happen. If you've been in trouble, you're not coming. They're taking character. They're taking upside. They're taking potential. They're taking motor. They're not taking talent. Is that going to be enough to win us a Super Bowl? Now it's either one way or it's not. And I think that it's settled in. It's settled in. It like really sunk in that this is going to be under Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, yeah. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes were never, ever going to draft or trade for Myles Garrett. It was never happening. It was never happening. One pride with the Dono, man, I appreciate you, says Holmes doesn't take the criticism of the DE well and was almost spiteful in his approach to it come the 3 days of the draft. Somebody actually said that to me, was like, do you think Brad Holmes is spiting the fans? And I'm like, well, I'm thinking to myself, that's dumb because he'll lose his job eventually, right? Because to be honest with you, that is the one thing I think holding us back, y'all. Offense was number one in the league. And I mean the defense as a whole, but it starts to me in the trenches, right? Brad Holmes has drafted 5 offensive linemen in the last 3 drafts. He traded up for both offensive linemen that we drafted, which tells you that that's a priority. But he made it very clear, and he came out and stated that the edge rusher position is more of a priority for us, the fans, than it is for the Detroit Lions. And I think that is the position that's going to help us win a Super Bowl. That's just what I think. We've built the team. We're just missing that one guy over there. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think I'm at peace. I think literally I've gone through the 5 stages, and I'm at acceptance. I'm either going to follow this team with passion or I'm not. We're going to win a Super Bowl, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell way, or we're not. That's how this is going to be. I think that I finally accepted it because he is not Aiden. Listen, there's not a truer statement than this. We didn't draft Aiden Hutchinson because he was elite. We drafted Hutch because of his play style, because of his motor, his character. Drafting Hutch, talent was at the very bottom. He fit everything else first. Right? He fit that's why Kayvon Thibodeau was never going to be the draft pick. He was never going to be the draft pick. Not at all. So I've accepted that now.
When we talked to him, he told us he was ready to die on the field. It sounds like he said the same thing to Dan when he talked to him on the phone. I guess just how unique of a personality he has, and I know that's not necessarily why.
Update, Jared Ivey is signing with the Seahawks in undrafted free agency. I know a lot of you guys wanted him. He's signing with the Seahawks.
Drafted him.
Yeah.
How much confidence does that give you that he's going to reach his full potential?
He's going to do everything he can. He's going to try to make sure that he's going to maximize every single thing that he's got in his body. He's going to be very, very coachable. The kid would probably sleep in his facility if he could. That's just kind of what his makeup is. But and he just brings a lot of energy. You saw it at the combine. It was just he's a nonstop kid. So his motor reflects what his personality is, and as you guys know, it's going to fit right in here.
You see that? You see that? That's what I'm saying, y'all. And I hate to stop this. So I haven't heard this. Usually I listen to this before, but I wanted to be surprised. You see what I mean? Now I get it. I got it, but I've accepted it. This is not how this motor, like you never hear about talent. He never talks about talent. So I'm wondering now if Broderick Martin, was it like an interview? Was it something they saw in his head that made them want him? Because it obviously wasn't skill, y'all. I'm not even trying to be funny. Like I was watching the draft and the analyzers, like I think it was Daniel Jeremiah, it was somebody up there, and they were saying how a lot of people draft talent over everything. When it came to Shadura Sanders falling, they were like they used TOA, which is talent over everything, right? Howie Roseman decided to go talent over everything with Jalen Carter. The Lions are not that team. They're not that team. I knew that, but it's like, okay, now I get it. You not coming off the mountain. This is how you're going to get there, and you're going to die on this hill. I respect that. I do. I respect that because I'm going to die on my hill too, right? So I respect Brad Holmes because he going to go down whether it works or not. This is what the vision they have. He's going to die on the hill. I can respect the person that dies on the hill because it's a lot of these cats on the internet, man, that they pivot. They change, and they will flip on you in a second. So I respect that. Brad Holmes, he done earned a little bit of my respect, man. Not because of the draft, but because he's willing to risk it all for what he believes in. Will I be? Will it bring my team a Super Bowl? That has yet to be determined. We gonna see.
And that sort of his backstory too.
Yeah, probably when I first turned on the film,
Adam in the building. Hey, Adam, be careful, bro. Adam in the building. What's up, big dog? The internet is awaiting your return. Hey, don't get in trouble for the super chat, bro. I don't want you getting in no trouble, bro. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, AB. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, the whole internet miss you, bro. And you know what, Adam? I'm going to be real with you, man. I wasn't a fan at first because I thought you was something else. Then I realized, okay, it ain't like that. And not a lot of people speak their mind and they stand on their own 2 feet, bro. It's a lot of wishy-washes in the space. You wasn't one of them. I appreciate you, man. We'll see you when you get back. Don't get in trouble for the super chat, though.
get a list of all the guys that have, some received an invite to an all-star game if you hadn't caught the film during the season. And so we should make sure that we get covered. And that's when I first started watching this tape. And then that's when I was just like, look, he's got some things to learn and he's got a ways to go. But you can make up a lot of things if you're playing with effort and toughness and physicality. And he's a good athlete, too. So we're excited about him.
Get off your ass now about drafting an edge?
I don't know. You guys been on my ass pretty hard.
Hey, yes we have, bro. Yes we have. Hey, stop. What the kids say? No diddy? Pause. And I don't even say that. But yes we have. Yes we have. I want to say something, but they'll cut this segment and then they'll use it as a meme. But yeah, man. Hey, no diddy. No diddy. But you see, he laughing now. But yeah, man. Hold on. Let me run that back. Let me run that back right there.
And he's a good athlete, too. So we're excited about him.
Get off your ass now about drafting an edge?
I don't know. You guys been on my ass pretty hard on it. So.
Hey,
it was just a little bit. I was like,
somebody should have said, "Hey, Paul." He should have said, "Pause." That tells you he out of touch, bro. Just like me, and like we the same age. He should have said, "Pause."
Brown is that? I don't know if that suffices.
You find it tantalizing at all that he had been playing football that long?
Yeah, absolutely. Like that makes it even more similar. Like how when we took Gio, last year, it's just those guys, or we take Vaki that, hadn't been playing running back that long. Like those kind of things, it's once you see enough of it, and if they have the right makeup and football character and passion and work ethic and being coachable, they have a big upside. So it's going to be cool to see how far he grows.
Okay, so I'm going to try not to stop this a lot, but like I said, y'all, he repeating the same thing over and over and over. This is what's going to get us there. He's going to die on his heel, and everybody else, we're gonna be along for the ride. It is what it is. We're going to see. And like I told y'all before, I don't want to be right. I just don't think that the defensive line, if it can't get to the quarterback, which you can already see that's not a priority to him. He said you can be a disruptor and you can do certain things it's not just about getting a sack. But I don't know, bro. I mean, I agree, but at the same time, a sack is instantly a negative play most of the time. You don't, if you get tackled 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage, right? It's like, a sack is a negative play. It's a guaranteed. You can also get a fumble, right? I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean at all, but what was the team a couple years ago? Eagles destroyed the San Francisco 49ers once they got to Brock Purdy, right? It's like we got to be able to get to the quarterback. We have to. All of this grit and stuff, is it going to be enough? That's just a wait and see.
Tate's versatility last night, obviously Miles a little bit easier to see because he's done a lot more of it on the field. When you've got guys that can do a lot of different things and they're young, what's the thought process on how many spots you want to test him to see how it fits? Earlier, do you kind of really pick one right away?
Yeah, it depends on on the player. There are certain players, especially offensive linemen, that come in and say, look, let's just keep him at one spot. That was kind of the tempting thing with Gio when he first got here. He was like, man, we want to put him at guard and put him at tackle. The original plan was tackle, but he did some things at guard, and you kind of go back and forth. But, it was almost like maybe it's best to just kind of leave him in one spot. And there's a lot of kids that come out in the draft that are the same way. But the ones that are smart, and especially the ones that have shown it on film as well, those are the ones that you feel really good about, because Hank is great, is that he's going to cross-train them at everything. And, if they've never done one position before, he's going to throw them out there because he's an elite level coach. So he's going to cross-train those guys. But, yeah, that versatility, that can kind of I can do a lot of things for you from a roster standpoint, especially if they're on the active and you're trying to construct a game day roster. It can do a lot for you.
Those guys talked about center. Tate said he did some in fall, and Frazier said he'd be happy to do it if asked. Do you envision, giving either one of those guys a good look this offseason at center just to see if they can do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Hank, he'll cross train all those guys. When you said center, I was thinking about Frank right now, but Hank, he's going to cross train all those guys. So if they've only been a guard, then he's going to put a ball between their legs and see if he can snap. But again, if they can, Hank's not going to put somebody in a tough position either. So he's going to be able to assess if they have the right makeup and mentality and communicative skills. That's a big part of it's not about just being able to snap. I mean, you have to have elite communication skills to play that position, not just as a starter, but even as a backup.
Just one other thing on guards. I don't know that anybody should. Maybe people read something into Graham Glasgow, but it's such a young group now that those guards. How valuable can he be to help that along, whatever his role may be?
Oh yeah, I think he's going to be very valuable. And again, he's talking about another one that's got legit proven position versatility as well. So just with his experience, having legit stripes on the wall, glad that we still have him. And I think he can help a lot of those young guys, because there's a little bit of a youth injection that we're trying to, that I think that it was necessary, that hopefully we kind of started that journey, because everybody can't play forever, and I think everybody knows that. But that was something that we intended, that we wanted to get done. You just never know if it can happen. Just like and I'm not saying this just because you guys are on my ass about it, but some things just have to line up right. You can go into and say, man, we want to really beef up, get better O-line, D-line. Man, if it doesn't line up right, then you just can't do it. Just the same thing I told you guys about corner position, the outside corner position, the first 3 years. Why don't you guys draft an outside corner? Why don't you have that? Well, we're not ignoring an outside corner. It hadn't lined up where we have conviction about the player and we're in a position to actually get one. And then we got 3 of them, and then y'all say we got too many. So you just can't win with those guys.
All right, Brad, let me retort to that. You got too many because, yet again, in free agency and the draft, you did not get a defensive end. It's the same thing. You did not see that. If you look at draft, this is a fact. This is a fact. If you look at free agency and the draft, we do not prioritize defensive end. We don't. When we get a defensive end, it's in the 6th round. It is in practice squads. Remember Isaiah Thomas, y'all? Remember, Al Quadim, he's still on the team. He actually played well enough to get an invite back, right? So it's not like that, Brad. It's not like that. Can we talk about Cam Sutton? You sign him. Can we talk? If you look at the drafts, this got Kirby Joseph. Brian Branch, iffy. You wind up taking Terrion Arnold and his Rakestraw. You took 2 corners back-to-back last year. So let's not act like that's 100% the facts. You still haven't done anything. If I recall, this is only the 2nd defensive end that we have drafted. Like DE designation. I remember that Pascal was a DT. Levi was a DT. I thought James Houston was an LB. Maybe he did have the DE designation. Mekhi Wingo, DT. Broderick Martin, DT. Right? Brad he just doesn't. But he said that in the draft from 2 days ago. Or the presser. So I think that's unfair. I think that's unfair. I've been very fair to Brad Holmes. I really have. You literally hear me talk about one thing. That's it. And I literally be right. I do. Y'all just don't like it.
Housekeeping thing on the roster currently with Aiden. We all know you want to do a deal.
Sure.
How much does that hinge on Michael Parsons or some of those other people getting deals?
He talking about the Aiden deal.
Are there some other dominoes that have to fall before?
Yeah, that's a fair question, but unfortunately, we just don't have any control over that. If he gets his deal done, he gets his deal done. But we have our internal communication and process and plan in place. You just unfortunately can't control those other things. I know there, you try to get in front of some things or that, but you obviously don't have control over it. Yeah. What's that?
On their side, waiting for something to get done. On Aiden's side of things.
If he's waiting, yeah. I mean, I can't. I'm not going to speak on that. Up here at this podium, I try to keep all the contractual things, in-house and internal. So I just don't think that's fair to the player or the agent.
This isn't a question about edge rusher necessarily, but you said you're always looking beyond the draft to collect players.
Yeah.
All right, so check this out. I watch a lot of Explore With Us, right? A lot of it. So I'm not a body language expert. I'm not. But they have a highly paid team of consultants. Notice Brad Holmes immediately. This is a sign of being defensive. Every time one of the people they're interrogating, Brad Holmes feels like he's being interrogated. Like, again, I'm not a body language expert, but anytime you hear somebody talk about body language, whenever you cross your arms, you are defensive. If you back away from the speaker, if you lean back, you are defensive. Brad, he instantly got defensive when they start bringing up the D-line once again. His body language literally changes right in front of us. I can't wait to hear this.
Whether it's edge or anything else, do you think
hold
there
on.
will be trade possibilities opening up edge rusher necessarily, but you said you're always looking beyond the draft to collect players. Yeah. Whether it's edge or anything else, do you think there will be trade possibilities opening up for you guys in the next month or 2 or 3?
It's an ongoing, nonstop, relentless climb for just building a roster in general. So it's not a position that's off limits. We're always trying to look to get better. Sometimes there's not better out there past, maybe the current starters you have. Maybe there's not better available versus the current depth you have. But we're always trying to look for better. And, I definitely would not be doing my job if I did not continually look at every single avenue, and which we'll continue to do for sure.
How much is the thinking with Georgia, looking at their programs, also given the fact that, Saban's, influence has maybe been phased out, obviously, since, he's retiring, so that you were looking for maybe a kind of a facsimile program like that, that can consistently produce those kind of players?
Yeah, I think the proof's in the pudding in terms of what they have put out, but it's just I get a better feel in terms of just actually witnessing it and seeing it and being there up close for both programs. And just as I've been around the Georgia program, I've been around the Alabama program when Saban was there, in terms of just how it's ran and those practices and the regimen, and just kind of have a little bit of insight of what they go through. And it's very much like what they're entering into in the NFL. So, it's not I went to a small school. I went to a small school, and we may not have had those same resources or that same type of preparation. But at the end of the day, whether you go to a small school or a program like that, you still have to be a good enough player, and it still is going to come down to that.
You guys didn't need a quarterback at all, but do you have any thoughts on this Shadura Sanders, kind of what happened with that? Do you talk about that in the draft room, just in terms of feeling for a player? I mean, like when they.
Yeah, it's. I just think everybody has their evaluations, and I do think that a little bit about what I was telling Eric here is there's just a lot of information that may not be available, or even the work. So if you only hear or see that a player is supposed to be this, and that's all you hear. And if you don't take the time out to get more of the information or watch all the film from the past 2 years, let's not just him, but for any prospect, it's just, it's hard. And again, the information is not available. So, look, I never want to see someone, be in a tough situation but I've seen it happen before, and I'm not to say that I'm blaming one person or the other, but sometimes people, they have let's call it not the player, but the media can put a spin on something that might not be the whole story. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
All right, and we did it. We were able to get through it in less than an hour, man. That's what's up. All right, so we got 5 minutes left, and I'll just give you my thoughts. Because I think in my fandom, I think a lot is lost. And what I mean by that is my being in most cases, most people believe it's overcritical. It's not me being overly critical. And yes, I do not have all of the answers. I do not have all of the resources that they have. But there's some truth to how the fans feel as well, right? There is some truth. It is Brad's job to run the team. It is our job to pay, right? I mean, there is a connection there, whether you like it or not. You can choose to pay. You can choose. But one thing I think gets lost with fans and owners and stuff like that is Brad is doing a job. This is if Brad gets relieved of his duties, which he's not, but if he did, he would find another job. How many of us find another team? Right? So it hits a little different for us. It hits a little different for us. So I have been on record saying this. I believe that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell will be the people to take us to a Super Bowl and win it. I believe that we will win one in the next 5 seasons. I'm going to stick to that. However, there are also things that are in play. A lot of my reactions and emotions are based off of statistics. And statistically, put it like this. If the Denver Broncos had the Detroit Lions offense, the Denver Broncos would be Super Bowl champions. That's what I believe. If the Denver Broncos, if you put the Detroit Lions offense on the Denver Bronco defense, I think the Denver Broncos win the Super Bowl, right? If you look at so Brad can discount stats if he wants, but there is a lot of truth to that, right? It's like, what is code? Code is like ones and zeros. Ones and zeros. It's stats. Stats do matter. They matter. They're not the end all be all, but they do matter. So I think that, like I said, what's happening with me is acceptance. It's like realization. I realize, because every year I'm like, okay, Brad's going to surprise us. Brad's going to surprise us. Brad bring the same meal every year. It's the same meal every year. Now I'm in the business of entertainment, so that's what this is entertainment. So I will make entertaining videos of Trey Hendrickson or Myles Garrett or whatever, right? If they pop up, that's what we do. But the reality is not that. The reality is also that Brad Holmes has a job. He has to earn another extension. Like, I'm not wrong for saying that. That is the actual fact. Brad Holmes has to earn another extension. He's under contract for 3 more seasons. After that, currently he's not. I have no control over whether he does or not. That's his job. And that's Sheila's decision. But it still has to be earned, right? Right? So that's all I'm saying. I think my delivery really offsets people. I get it. It all puts people, it's off-putting. I understand that, but that's just who I am, right? And it's all a fan. It's all me being a fan. I'm not just like a dry eyes dude or a super lame dude who has no voice inflection, a guy who I'm not that guy. I am not the dry eyes dude, but we all want the same thing. So Brad Holmes, I don't think this means that Zadarius Smith is guaranteed to come back. That is a choice that it seems like he's going to make. And I said this before, if I'm Zadarius Smith, the price just went up. I just raised my price. Whatever we talked about, I'm taking it back. I want more money because you didn't do anything. And if you have to find somebody else, then find somebody else. See, let's not forget. Like, listen, is any of this a lie? What I'm about to say, Brad Holmes traded for Zadarius Smith knowing what his contract was, right? That is a fact. Brad Holmes cut Zadarius Smith. That is also a fact. No lies are in there. So if I'm Zadarius Smith, Brad Holmes took a 6th-round edge rusher, and that was all he did from the edge rushing position. And we signed one in two. I think we did two in undrafted free agency, maybe. I don't remember. I know one is here. None of that is a lie about Zadarius Smith. So if I'm Zadarius Smith, I say, hey, the price just went up. It just went up. Because you cut me because you were trying to save money. Now you want me on a discounted deal. I don't know what his price is, but if his price is $5 million for 1 year, it went up to 7. You gave Marcus Davenport, 3.5 guaranteed for last season? If I'm Zadarius Smith, it just went up. Yesterday's price ain't today's price. See, you had a chance to sign me before the draft, but you didn't want to, right? You gave me an offer. I refused it. I ain't signed it. If there's a reason Zadarius Smith has not returned to the Detroit Lions. And if I'm him and I want to return and I decide, you just went up. It just went up. I just don't want your blood pressure to rant when you go super rant. I don't know. Ranting is part of what I do, but I'm also realizing, like literally, I just accepted last night. It just like hit me. It just hit me that Brad Holmes is not going to change. He's not. There's no surprises. There's no nothing. There's no nothing. Like he's gonna run the team his way. It's gonna be this way, and we have to live and die by it. So I'm not gonna give myself a heart attack or give myself an aneurysm or something because of decisions he makes, right? I'm going to stand on my heel. He's going to stand on his. One of us going to be right. If the Lions is right and I'm wrong, we world champions. But the only thing that I agree that I have a problem with is I just don't think with how our defense is that we're going to be able to win anything. We're going to be able to win anything. What wide receiver is trash? Brian says Zadarius Smith has every right to do that. Brad Black backed out of the deal. Now it's in the hands of the players. Adam G says, and going with character, motivation, passion, etc., has turned the franchise from a laughing stock into what they are now. So it's very effective. I believe they will make a Super Bowl culture. Okay. And that's a perfectly reasonable reaction. It is. And that's, I guess, the wonderful part about being a fan. I don't think that's the case. Ndamukong Suh does not fit this culture, but Ndamukong Suh was a dog, right? Jalen Carter don't fit this culture. See, when you talk about culture, you got to get a stud too. If you can, Aiden Hutchinson was the best of both worlds. You got talent and you got culture. So you could be right. I just don't know if you are. I mean, I don't know if I'm right. Brad seems salty if you question his ways. Absolutely. It was pick 102 and 2 third-round picks. Yep. If Tesla turns out to be a Pinto, we have a problem. Yeah. Well, we're going to see. Brad needs to wake up and stop being scared of edge rushers. Well, here's what I think that will happen, and we'll wrap it up because I'm already over time. I told my wife and son I would be off at, but she understands. Here's this is how it's just the bottom line, right? Brad Holmes, it was a question that I wanted to, Brad needs to wake up and stop being scared of edge rushers. Brad needs to It's either going to happen or it's not. That's it. So don't forget, we got a extremely tough schedule. We find out who we play, when we play them. I mean, in about 3 weeks, and we're going to find out. We got the Chiefs. We got the Eagles. We got the Cincinnati Bengals. We have the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, and although I'm not worried about the record, because all we need to be is one of the best 7 teams in the NFC. That's it, right? Even if it's 7. We got beat by a 7 seed last year, right? No, or maybe they were the 6 seed. One or the other. We have to make the dance. Here's what's going to happen. I'm putting this on record for like the 13th time. The fan base is going to start to lose patience with Brad Holmes. Will Sheila? I don't know. She came out and backed him up in year 2. Remember that. Hasn't had to do it since. He's earned an extension. All facts. The fan base, some of them will start to kind of, I don't know. They'll start to give him the Jim Caldwell treatment. Brad Holmes will start to get the Jim Caldwell treatment, right? And then from that moment on, now they're going to get more aggressive and vocally about it. Because you notice nobody talks about Dan Campbell in the offseason. Nobody talks about Dan. Nobody talks about Brad. But yesterday, it was probably the best line in draft day. So Kevin Costner's character is the GM, and Dennis Leary is the coach. And he says, my job is to give you a team. It's something like this. My job is to put the team together. Your job is to win with that team, or something like that. And it was just like, yep. And that's what I've been saying. Brad is responsible. He decides who comes to the team. It just so happens that him and Dan get along and they agree on everything. But it's his decision of guys that come. It was something I noticed in one of the press conferences. I can't believe, I think it was either last night or the one before that. No, last night was this one. He said something, and it was kind of eye-opening. And I wondered if I heard it correctly. It almost seemed like Tyleik Williams was kind of a last-minute decision. He said he came to Dan with it, and he made it seem like it was like recent, and Dan was just like, okay, because Dan has been on record like, I trust you, right? He's been on record. So I don't know if Dan Campbell necessarily is like, man, yes, you want this guy? Yeah, man, this guy, we agree, tag team, right? I don't think it's like that. I think he's, you know what? You've done a great job so far. Give me a guy. If you say he should be here, he's here, right? I don't know if anybody picked up on that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I misheard. I don't know. But it just seemed like it was a last minute, like kind of like a late, he wasn't always going to be the guy, and then he was. So anyway, we will see. We will see. So a couple of dates coming up. Schedule release is on the 14th of May. Rookie mini camp should be sometime in May as well. And then before you know it, in about a month, we'll be kind of really gearing up for OTAs. And then OTAs, they come, they go, and then we got the season. And for us, our season starts July 31st. So we get an additional, like an early week. We actually get an additional preseason game. I did not know that. Now we play 4. So that's going to be an additional game for these people to shine, which means it's going to be even harder for guys to make the team because they're going to have one more extra game to make the team, to show what they got. So I will be going to the Hall of Fame game, no doubt about it. It's a 3-hour drive for me. I also plan to get a booth at the Fantasy Football Expo, which is in the week after. I think somebody put in the chat that it's the 8th through 10th of August. I don't think the Lions will be playing that week. There might not even be any preseason that week. It might start the following week. And then we'll be into football, man. And before you know it, like 90 days from now, we'll be right at the Hall of Fame game, which is insane. So anyway, appreciate you guys. UDFA videos. I'll probably start them today. I'll probably make 2, the edge rusher video and Zadarius' nephew. And then here we go, man. So, hey, enjoy your Sunday. Watch some UFL football. The Knicks are annoying. Spike Lee is even worse. And yeah, Piston Syndicate, man. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to have a Piston Syndicate by the time the season starts again. Yeah. You know what? Maybe I can do one by the draft. If I really go hard, maybe I can find somebody to do it by the draft. There's 2 guys I got lined up, but I got to talk to them. All right? I will see you guys next time, man. Thank you.